What up, everybody? It's your boy Jose back with another video, guys. You know. But anyways, guys, today I'm gonna do a Twilight Zone video based on my top 10 best Twilight Zones in my perspective, in my thing. Now, if you don't know what Twilight Zone is, sorry about that. It was a series that was made in 1959 and it was carried up to 1964 in American television. And it was a anthology series facing fantasy, science fiction, sometimes a little bit of terror, and a bunch of other things. Created by Ronald Story, and it's gone through 2 revivals, and now it's currently going to go through its 3rd revival since 2017. Anyways, I'm gonna do my top 10 favorite of one of the original, and then one of non-original of the one of the revivals, because it's the only revival episode I've ever seen. First, number 1, my all-time favorite episode is what's called "To Serve Men." It's the best episode of my opinion. What it's about is aliens come down from another planet, and they don't speak with their mouth; they speak telepathically, and they say they want to help advance humanity with with all their technology, and they end up doing that. And then they end up offering to take people to their planet to learn more. Well, they had came with an instruction manual with them, and they gave the instruction manual to the people, and they are decoding it and from the alien language into the English and other languages. So one of the persons that's in charge of doing this is a guy and his I guess secretary or whatever. So they're all boarding a plane, or I think at one point at the end of towards the end of the episode, when he's was given the right to go up with them to their planet, he is given he's getting on the plane, and she runs in through the people, and she's saying, "Don't get on the plane!" She starts screaming, "Don't get on the plane! To serve man! It's not a manual! It's a cookbook!" They're basically gonna cook and eat humans. And he tries to fight back, but he gets knocked out and taken on board. And then it goes back to him being in his, like, you could say, cell on the ship. He's in like a jail cell, and they brought him food, and he says, and the alien says to him, "You might as well eat with Mr. something." I forgot the guy's name. "We don't want you to go hungry." And that was the end of the episode. And Ron Stone does his closing statement, and that was it. Anyway, episode 2, Monsters are due on Maple Street. This is basically a good episode to tell you of what happens when you let fear, anxiety rattle people, and creates mob mentality, and people slowly devolve into killing their own neighbors. In this story, someone kills their own neighbor. It's messed up. And all because they think there's aliens coming down on Maple Street, which there were technically, but they're not. They never really explained if there were aliens, but they did say there was a light in the sky. Anyways, that's number 2. Number 3 for me is the dummy. Now, there's 2 dummy ones. I'm talking about the one where it's a guy who's at a nightclub, and he starts to lose his mind thinking that his dummy is alive. His dummy is named Caesar, and it turns out his dummy is alive. And I would say Caesar is kind of like pre-origins from Slappy the Dummy from Goosebumps, but in a different twist. See, Caesar in the show doesn't want to enslave humankind. He doesn't want to be the ruler of the world like Slappy does. All he wants is to switch places, meaning he wants to be the ventriloquist for a while, and his ventriloquist to be the dummy. And that's the ending. Literally, the ending is he gets what he wants. The end of the story. Though Caesar was completely creepy, don't get me wrong. He was a little creepy. There's another number 4 in my point of view. Now, I have a problem with number 4. And I do like it, but it gets annoying to watch. And that is, it's a good life. And it's called, what it's about is basically a town a farm town, a small farm town, in either Kansas, Kentucky. I don't know exactly where. I think it's Kansas. Is under is basically plagued by a monster. Who this monster has to be a human boy, a little boy, who has psychic abilities, who can read people's minds, and send them to this place called a cornfield, basically where they don't exist anymore. And he sends people to the cornfield. Thing is, everyone's afraid of him, but this is the reason why I don't like the story. It's not that hard to get rid of him. I mean, he's a little kid. I mean, go take him into bed. Bring him a shotgun and kill your kid. I mean, it's not that hard. Jesus. I hate stories where everyone thinks, oh, it's so impossible to get rid of this kid. Okay, first of all, you ever thought of not thinking about anything at all and then just shoot him in the face when he's asleep? I mean, yes, he can read your mind, but shoot him in the face while he's asleep and then he can't really do nothing. That's number 4. Number 5 has to be A Nice Place to Visit, and that's about a robber who gets shot after he robs either it was a casino or a thrift store. I'm not sure what he robs again. A jewelry store, I believe. And he gets shot by a police officer and dies. And throughout this entire time, he thinks he's in, like, heaven. He gets a butler. He's always in a nice place. And then after a while, he starts to get really, like, he wants to leave and wants to leave. And he's yelling at him, where am I? I want to leave. I want to leave. I want to leave the butler. And the butler is saying, you cannot leave. You're not allowed to leave. And then he says, where are we? I thought I was in heaven. I said, heaven? No. No. You're not in heaven, sir. And then he realizes it, and then the butler starts laughing maniacally, and that was the end of the episode. Now, here's another episode. I don't remember exactly the name, but I'll give you what it's about. The story is, it's about a guy who spent all his life gambling, and he does love his son, but he spent more of his life gambling. He's not that morally upright person, but he's an okay person. And he gets word that his son just died in World War II, I believe, or something. I'm doing a video right now. I'll come in a couple minutes. 10 minutes. 5. Sorry about that, guys. I have to go to dinner soon. I'll make the next part after this. He has to go to so he asks God or an angel for like one more day with his son, or one more full day, and he gets his son back like when he was a kid, and they go through all these do a fair, and they all do all these like cool carnival things, and then when it's time for his son to go, he doesn't want to let go, so he asks God for one more favor, and he says, please trade me for my son. I don't want my son to die. So he decides to trade himself for his son. And then it shows a year later, and it shows his son back at home, and he's at the same carnival, and he's playing the games, and he says, you did really well, son. Where'd you learn to shoot? And he says, my dad taught me. And that's the end of the episode. And that movie, the episode of Restriction on Maybe, it shows you need to hug your family close, tell them you love them and be with your family, but you never know what happens next. The next one is called The Howling Man. That's number 6, I believe. Now, this is number 6 on my list. The Howling Man is basically about a guy who's got caught in, I don't know what country he's in, but he's stuck in like his car broke down, or his or his plane broke down, or whatever. And he goes to a house, and the guy lets him in just on one condition. He says not to open that door over there because there's a man in there, and you should not open that door. The man tricks him, and the guy tries to tell him that the guy in there is the devil and that he has been captured. And as long as he stays in that door, he can no longer escape. and the man doesn't believe him, and then the man tricks him. It's in the door, tricks him. He opens the door. The guy gets out, transforms into the devil. He freaks out, and then he tells him that that he trapped him, everything, and that I'm sorry that I don't understand that you're sorry and that you effed up, but that now the world's gonna go into chaos. Then it skips ahead to the present day, where the man is actually telling his maid the story of what happened, and to tell her not to open that door, because he had caught the devil again. This guy, the same guy who opened it in the first place. And the end of the episode, it's the maid who finally, the curiosity gets the better of her and opens the door, and all that show is the two eyes of the devil, or the guy who's the devil, and that's it. Okay, guys, like I said before, I gotta go. I'll do part 2 of this later. Like, comment, subscribe if you've done so already, and I'll see you in the next video, guys.